Between 1955 and 1975, the Vietnam War was fought. The battle was between the Communist Viet Cong in the south and the anti-communist People's Army of Vietnam in the north. Both sides were trying to reunite the country, but their ideologies were utterly contrary. The United States entered the conflict to prevent the communists from taking complete control. The war was not well received by the American people, and there were numerous anti-war protests while President John F. Kennedy was still in office. Before his assassination, John F. Kennedy declared that he did not want to engage in the battle. President Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in immediately after the death of JFK. His first assignment in office was to concentrate on the war, saying, "Combat against communism must be joined with military superiority and determination." Over 58,000 American men died fighting for the Vietnamese people's freedom. Many US citizens didn't want the president to get involved with this civil war. While many soldiers lost in the war, the Vietnamese people lived through a period of extreme instability. Because they were living in a war zone, their lives were completely shattered and many innocent civilians died as a result of the conflict. The conflict permanently transformed one Vietnamese woman's life. This woman gave birth to an orphan son that she never dreamt of seeing again. Why was her son abducted, and would they ever be reunited? Keep up with me as I unfold this emotional story of a Vietnamese woman who lost her son during the Civil War. Kindly hit the like button, and if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to watch more related videos. During the Vietnam War, one woman was dealing with her problems as a result of the conflict. This Vietnamese woman, Thuy-Nga, fell in love with an American participating in the war effort. He was charming, and the two began to date, something Thuy-Nga's father did not approve of. With the conflict erupting all around her, Thuy-Nga's relationship provided her with some hope and joy during a difficult time. However, that beautiful romance came to an end far too soon when her army lover was relocated to a new Vietnamese location. She became pregnant before the American soldier was shipped home. She was 17 years old, single, and expecting her first kid. This was not suitable in her family or culture, and her father did not provide her with many options. Thuy's father, unsurprisingly, was not pleased with his daughter's accidental pregnancy. Her father was furious by every detail of the scenario, including that the child's father was an American and that his daughter would soon become a teenage single mother. While Vietnamese women wanted to retain the child, she was still a teen, staying in her father's house and bound to his laws. Thuy-Nga did not have the option of keeping her son. Her father was confident that the child would be looked down upon in their area, and he just did not like the whole scenario. Thuy-Nga's father snatched her kid away as soon as she gave birth, and the young mother thought she would never see him again. She was going through a lot of pain as she had lost two people she cared about at this point, her son and her lover. Kirk, a Vietnamese orphan, was taken from his Vietnamese orphanage and adopted by an American couple after turning 2. The Keller Halls adopted a young child who had neither a father nor a mother and nurtured him as their own. He was raised in Texas and attended high school there. Kirk went on to a government university in Austin and lived happily with his adopted parents during that time of his life. Kirk couldn't picture ever being reunited with his biological parents, having assumed that they were killed in the war or died of natural causes. Kirk was 47 years old at the time, and he had embraced the idea that he would never meet his birth parents. He moved on with his life, forgetting that he was an orphan, and was living his life to the fullest. He didn't think often about his biological parents because he didn't imagine he'd ever meet them. Kirk loved his adoptive parents and started his own family and life. He had one son named Andrew, who lived with him in Virginia Beach, where he had a wonderful life. There, he developed his passion for video editing and photography into a career in multimedia. He had no idea how drastically his life was about to change. Kirk had moved on and had managed to forget about his birth parents, but his mother, Thuy-Nga, had never forgotten about her son. She was a devout Christian who made her everyday prayer about her son. She barely had a few moments with her son after his birth, and she was desperate to meet him and learn more about him. A distracted Thuy-Nga never forgot her son and was always searching for him. Thuy-Nga had to move on as life waited for none, even though her son was always on her mind. Later in her life, Thuy-Nga relocated to the United States shortly after giving birth to her child, where she met her husband, William Niblett. William served in the Air Force for about 2 decades until they married in 1971. The couple was blessed with 2 beautiful children, Tina and CJ. Kirk was known to Thuy-Nga's family, and they realized how much she would love to find him. Tina wanted to assist with the search for Kirk and went to social media for assistance. She took to her Facebook account to share a photo of herself holding a sign with information about her missing brother. She had no other info about him. She didn't know his American name, so she used Tran Van Hung, the name his mother gave him. The post quickly went viral with over 10,000 shares. While she was given names of persons she thought might be her brother, unluckily none of them was Kirk. After receiving no positive response to their Facebook post, Thuy-Nga adopted a new strategy for locating her son. While searching for him, Thuy-Nga went to a genealogy website and explored a DNA family tree program. The website offers a variety of possibilities for people of various ethnic backgrounds, and it can assist users in locating family members. It's also a well-known DNA matching website. Kirk, on the other hand, had no intention of looking for his birth parents. He was afraid of failing or discovering something he didn't want to know, so he refused to attempt. Nevertheless, Kirk was curious to learn more about his parents and birthplace, but Kirk conducted his research using traditional techniques. Kirk's wife eventually persuaded him to try looking on the internet, and he enrolled in the same online DNA program. Kirk received an email just a few days after joining the program informing him that they had located a potential match. When Kirk realized what the match was for, he was astonished. It said parent-child match. I just shook my head and said, wait, this is a mistake. This is impossible. Kirk, who assumed that his mother had died, now got the biggest surprise of his life. He realized that his mother was still alive and looking for him. Kirk wasn't the only one who was stunned. Thuy-Nga couldn't believe her good fortune. She'd been looking for Kirk for about 50 years. Thanks to the online program, she is now closer than ever to locating him. Thuy-Nga said, I knew if I just kept the faith and kept believing, God would respond. My son was sent to me by God. I remember reading in the Bible that if you knock, it will be opened, and if you ask, it will be given to you. I wasn't about to let go. Thuy-Nga finally had the chance to meet her son for the first time. She couldn't wait to meet him, so the two scheduled an introduction date. Kirk and his family lived in Virginia Beach while Thuy-Nga resided in San Antonio with her family. The duo would meet for the first time, and neither of them could contain their joy. Thuy-Nga and her husband began packing for their journey to Virginia Beach while still astonished by the news that she had finally discovered her son after so many years. Thuy-Nga had a lot of time to contemplate how the reunion would go throughout the 23-hour vehicle trip, so there must have been a lot of concern and excitement. She was looking forward to meeting Kirk after the long trip through 8 states. Thuy-Nga was not the only one who was concerned. Kirk was growing jittery as well, anticipating the meeting. He had never imagined this day would come, and he was about to see the mother he had thought was dead for almost 50 years. Kirk pondered how the encounter would go while he awaited his mother's arrival. Do you think they'd get along? Thuy-Nga could not wait to meet the child she had been forced to give up on that big day. Kirk waited impatiently in his driveway for the car to arrive, and neither of them could suppress their feelings when Thuy-Nga got out of the vehicle. She recognized Kirk as her son with one look, and she embraced him warmly. Thuy-Nga felt humbled and thanked God for the moment she hugged her child for the first time. Thank you so much, God. Thank you, Jesus, she said. I'm sure you are aware of my son's whereabouts. She couldn't stop the tears from running down her face as she clutched her son even harder and refused to let go. Kirk was also passionate about not letting go. After the initial meeting, Kirk and his mother began to converse, and Kirk discovered that he had siblings. He was getting not just one, but numerous new family members. He had no idea that his sister Tina had posted on social media, and had no idea she even existed until he met Thuy-Nga. Thuy-Nga was also ecstatic to meet the rest of his family. That's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you liked the story. Kindly leave your comments on the video and subscribe to the channel to watch more related videos.